The likely government shutdown suggests Washington is bitterly divided over the nation's priorities, but a new survey indicates most Americans agree on what issues need the most attention. Joining me now is Lauren Smith, a vice president at the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, which conducted the survey. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Tell me about what you found in the survey. What are some of the big takeaways from that?
Well, I think the most important thing to share is that there was such significant common ground in what people identified both as values for what they wanted to see in their community, as well as challenges that they're all facing. And I think the key message is that there's more common ground than we have been led to believe. And we have to counter the lie that we are too divided to actually work together to solve challenges.
Let's start with the values. What do people, even from, because you did focus groups as well as polling, what are some of the core values that people have?
Well, these are things that you would really expect. Like, people want to be able to live in a community that is safe, where they can afford their housing, where they can turn on the water and have safe, clean water come out of the tap, where people are able to live and feel welcome. All of these things are elements that were agreed upon by folks regardless of whether they were in a suburban area, an urban area, across political beliefs and different backgrounds. So there really was strong common ground.
So safety, housing, water, feel welcome. What about the challenges? Obviously, those are in a way challenges too, because you want those to be good. But was there anything else that you'd put in the challenge category?
I think one of the main challenges that came up in a lot of different ways was concern about the cost of living. People were worried that folks in their community would be unable to maintain living in their communities and would be forced out by the rising cost of living. So there were concerns about housing costs, the availability of affordable health care, homelessness and the issues around folks who are unhoused. So all of that related to that sense of it is so expensive to live.
So let's imagine you were programming a television newscast for the evening, or you were president of the United States and you could focus everybody's attention on something. What would these are the issues that you would talk about.
And I think what's important is that this study allowed people of different backgrounds and beliefs to come together and to listen to each other. And it was in that process that they were able to identify areas of common ground. You know, my grandmother said you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and you should use them in that proportion. And this study allowed that to happen. And in that process, people found that there's more that divides us than that separates us.
And tell me what they want out of the political. Did they talk about, the political system or?
What was interesting is that people identified the government as an essential entity to help communities solve problems. So the vast majority of folks, again, across political beliefs and locations, said that the government was the right entity to be able to help solve problems. Up to 94% said, for example, that the government was the group that needed to help with affordable housing.
Did they have a feeling of local versus national?
Yes, they did. And there was more affinity and sense of optimism about being able to make change at the local level, a little bit less so at the state, and then less so at the federal level. So that proximity or that connection made a difference. But just the fact that so many people thought that the government was a useful entity was important.
Lauren Smith from the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.